Thanks for joining in the Pivotal Podcast, where we talk about young adults with young adults. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Pivotal Podcast. I am here as always with my wonderful, delightful, hair down today friend, Andrea Sawtell, and she's got Jesus over her shoulder. So I told her we are expecting some truth bombs to drop. You got Jesus with you right there. That's awesome. That's awesome. And special guest Kimmy. Kimmy, thank you so much for being here on the Pivotal Podcast. This is just a real treat for us, and I'm so excited to get to know you a little bit better. But first, I want to have a check-in with Andrea. Andrea, yes. give us a little tidbit. All right, I'm going to prime the pump a little bit. What is going on with the donut world situation? Can you tell us?
Listen, to all these listeners out there, it's a lot of money to renovate a truck. Need some revenue.
Right.
So the truck is currently sitting in front of my house, and I have a couple neighbors that are going to be working on it or have worked a little bit on it, but there's a plumber and electrician, and they have actual real jobs to do too. So I'm not sure we're at the priority top of the priority. But it's coming along. It's just slower. My husband keeps saying just be patient, be patient.
Yeah.
But it's kind of been a blessing in disguise because I'm doing double duty at my church right now because our youth pastor is getting married and resigned, and I'm searching for a new youth pastor. So the summer has been a lot more crazy. So maybe God knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
But I want the truck up and running. Yeah. A, because I love donuts, and B, because I just want to go into my community and impact people. So
yeah. That's awesome.
That's the goal.
That's awesome. Just the word donut. I just say it and I want to shut this podcast down and just go right now. I want to go get a donut right now.
Same.
Yeah, I'm excited. I am excited to one day, I'm going to manifest this. One day in the future, I'm going to be standing at your little donut truck and I'm going to be ordering a dozen donuts. I'm very excited for that day. Oh, that's fun.
Ready for you.
All right. Well, we want to meet Kimmy, our special guest today. So, hi, Kimmy. Please tell us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about your life.
Sorry, my dog literally just started barking right before I started talking. So I'm a young adult up in upstate New York, central New York now, I guess. I just moved to Syracuse this year.
Okay.
I felt called here, which is really funny because my roommates / pastors are opening a coffee trailer, which also they bought the truck from Andrea and Nate, which is the connection is so funny. Yeah.
Awesome.
And so we're also running into some of that same stress of feeling like we're running out of time and need to get things done, but it's also so expensive and there's so much paperwork. So yeah, I'm just here working on my relationship with God and following where he wants me to go. It's been a big struggle recently. So yeah.
I really love how your intonation went up at the end of that. Oh, where he wants me to go. I love that. That's so typical. And I'm a young adult pastor.
Yeah.
That aspect of the whole young adult world is just my favorite aspect. Everything kind of has a question mark at the end. I'm not really sure what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I love. So I
don't know what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah, no, you're right on time. You're right on track. Right. Yeah, I love that. Just breathe deep. Everything is going to be fine. I should have said earlier, the Pivotal Podcast exists simply to create a conversation and an ongoing conversation with young adults about young adult life, what it means to be a young adult in, today's modern age, the joys and the struggles of it. Yeah. So Kimmy, we're excited to dig into this with you. Yeah, we're gonna have a great time. But please rest assured, all the question marks are exactly where they should be in your life. So let's just normalize not knowing what's going on at any given time. Let's normalize that. Right.
Yeah. I'm working on accepting that.
Yeah.
Working on accepting it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Especially but if you're a control freak, if you're like a type A and you got to have everything in line, yeah, young adulthood is a mess. It's even more challenging for sure. Okay, so you're in Syracuse, and that's exciting. Love that
Mhm.
for you.
Yeah.
So would you tell us, Kimmy, a little bit about just your faith journey? And I don't know, like Kimmy and I, just full disclosure, we've never met before this podcast, so I don't know your story or anything. You mentioned God, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say you probably have some kind of faith. So tell us about your faith
Yep.
story and like what your journey looks like today.
Yeah. So I grew up in, I like to call it a holiday Christian household. We would go to church like for Christmas, sometimes Easter, but I didn't really have like a home base for that. And then around fifth, sixth grade, I had a friend invite me to a local church and we had like a bowling day. And then I slowly started going more and more and connecting with God. And I went to teen camp and I kind of just got thrown in the deep end of what Nazarenedom is. And so it's a little overwhelming at first, but it's been it's been good. I over the last year or so have been learning a lot more about what it means to actually follow God and what it means to like hear God. I've talked a lot to my roommate and pastor, and I was like, I don't ever hear God's voice. Like, I don't know what he sounds like. I was like, how do I know if it's God versus me versus the world telling me what to do? Um, and she explained it in a way that just helped me feel so okay with what I was doing. And she's like, it's this overwhelming peace. And so I think that's something I've been working on a lot um, recently. This whole past year, I mean, I moved in with her without even knowing her for a whole year. So I was like, yeah, I'm just moving in with some strangers. It's all good. Um, I I went from like teen youth things straight to college. I went to Eastern Nazarene College and I kind of I kind of fell off a little bit there. I was at a Christian college, and I feel like everyone expects you to just be so on fire for God that whole time. But I've been talking a lot recently with people, and I feel like there can be a little bit of a disconnect between leaving the youth group and then going straight into like young adulthood. And sometimes it feels like you're thrown into everyday like adult church and there's no buffer. And so I think I had a really hard time with that. And I didn't walk away, but I kind of stepped back a little bit and just was like, I'm going to do my own thing actually. Um, and so I've been working on kind of rekindling my relationship with God and trusting Him and being honest about where I'm at.
Mm.
So,
Oh, so
Kim,
good. Kimmy.
Kimmy, I have to say, I've known Kimmy. I met Kimmy at ENC, because our family hosted a spaghetti Wednesday every Wednesday night
my
for college
heart.
students at our house, and they came in, they got very little spaghetti because we stretched it really far. But she was there consistently every week, and oh my goodness, just listening to you, I just have to give you a shout out because listening to you talk. And the maturity of, it's been a few years. I think it's been almost 4 years since I was
Yeah.
there with you. And just the
Yeah.
maturity of it's so cool to listen to your journey of like God learning how to listen to God's voice and articulating what you're articulating. And so I just wanted to say, like, shout out to you. You sound like you've just matured even over the last few years. So cool.
If it's okay, Kimmy, I wanted to just draw out three things that really caught my attention. The first thing was the peace. I really resonate with that, the peace of God, because I think another thing that we should normalize is really struggling to discern God's voice. I have never heard like
Yeah.
an audible sound in my ears in terms of like God's voice, but for me, just like for you, it's the peace that He leads me with is such a great, for me, is such a great discerning tool and such a great compass for me. I just know, and that's hard to qualify. Like when you explain that to somebody, like, oh, I don't know, just feel it. It feels kind of flimsy and fragile and lame, but it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just have peace about this direction or this decision or whatever. So I
Yeah.
wanted to like just testify to the fact that that's so often how God works in my life as well. He just, he does it through just guiding me through peace. Yeah.
Amen.
And then the another thing
Yeah.
was the word rekindling. I really love that word.
Hmm.
It feels to me, maybe not so much as the last few years, it feels to me like there really is a rekindling in this young generation that we're not, while there was a kind of a cut separation from previous generations' iteration of like religiousness or
Hmm.
churchiness or whatever that might be,
Yeah.
there's we're not just giving up on that. We don't just like throw the whole thing out.
Yeah.
We're gonna step into what does being in love with Jesus look like for today? And that really does take a rekindling a
Yeah.
lot of times. Because I've seen a lot of people, they just throw the whole thing out. Like that was my parents' thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rebel against like church life. I'm not gonna do any of that.
Yeah.
There seems to be a lot of it's just me and Jesus, and that's all I need. I don't need, the church or anything like that. And so, man, I just
Yeah.
really love and respect that whole like that rekindling thing. And then the third thing just flew out of my head. I had three things, but those are really good, and
It's okay.
I appreciate you.
I'll pick up on the third thing. I don't know
You,
if it was
yeah,
what you were thinking of because
okay,
maybe our brains will share. I just think the recognition of the transition from high school
yeah,
into, whether you go to college or there's a lot of people that go away to
Right.
college. There's a lot of people that stay, do trade school, or they work or take a gap year. But regardless of what you do, that jump is big. I just finished up a couple
Yeah.
weeks of covering the youth pastor stuff, and so I've been with teens, and some of them graduated, and I know what as a young adult pastor, like what we have to offer, but you can still see it's just a large gap in their minds, I think, and yeah, I think
Yes.
when you go away to college
Yeah.
even at like you hit the nail on the head when you go away to a Christian college and you just in your mind, I think it's going to be teen camp every day. I literally just heard a high school student
Yes.
go, I can't wait to go to college because it's going to be like teen camp every day. And I want it to be like, not really,
No,
you know,
it's
because
not.
in mind you think, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're adulting and you're going, whoa, like there are no guardrails and I'm supposed to
Yeah.
just figure this out on my own. So yeah, I just appreciate that
Yeah.
transparency that that's
Yeah.
what it is. And I think
Yeah.
we come alongside of our young people as they get out of high school into that, and maybe even before like that last year of youth group, like helping them to walk through so it can be a better transition. So I appreciated that part too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I also had that same expectation of going to college, especially at a Christian college, at a Nazarene college. I was like, oh, everyone's going to know what we're talking about. Everyone's going to be Nazarene. We're all going to be going and worshiping and doing all the things on Sunday morning together and throughout the week. It's been great. And then I got there and we got through orientation, and that was all like the excitement and the games, and they get you exhausted. And then it slowly started kind of dwindling a little bit. And I was like, I realized that not every single student at Christian college is going to be Christian. And I was like, it's okay that that's the case. But also, I was like, I needed to shift that expectation. And I just, yeah. And then I would like talk about districts and field. And they're like, most of my friends are like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Like that sounds like madness. I was like, oh, okay, so you didn't you're not in the Nazarene church. Okay, I need to like break it down and not assume that everyone knows what I'm talking about. So it was a big shift, and I can definitely relate to the teen that's like, oh, it's gonna be like teen camp every day. And it's not like you're in charge of yourself at college, and no one's gonna be holding your hand through that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. Well, I think that that could be a good segue into the next question that we have for you, Kimmy, which is what is something that you see as a common issue facing young adults today? You kind of already like touched on that as far as like your college experience, but maybe even broader than that. Just, I mean, I'll leave it there. I don't want to dissect the question, but just something that you see as a common issue that young adults face.
Yeah, I think from personal experience and from talking to a lot of friends, I think it's the struggle. It all connects. So like the struggle with the unknown, you don't know what you're doing with your life. There stops being pretty much after high school, there stops being a this is what's next. This is what you have to do. There, everyone goes in different directions. And I think there's that internal conflict of what am I supposed to be doing? But there's no rule book. There's no here's chapter one, you did high school. Here's chapter two, you did college, and now you do what? And so I think because of that, like what do I do? There's kind of this sense of loneliness of who do I go to tell me what to do? And what like for me, I know I had this perfect ideal timeline of what my life is supposed to look like, but that stopped at college. I knew I was going to college. I didn't know what I was going to study, didn't know what I wanted for a job after that, didn't know where I was going to live. And so it stopped. And I was like, now what? And I think there wasn't, I mean, no one is there to tell me what to do.
Mhm.
And I think I guess I didn't really fully have an understanding of how to trust that God would like take me where I was supposed to go. But also there's that part of you have to do the work too. You can't just expect him to drop it in your lap. And I think because of all those unknowns, you kind of shut down. I know I shut down and it gets really lonely because everyone's doing different things. And so I see my friends going to grad school and I see my friends getting full-time jobs and other friends getting married. I'm like, what am I like? I don't have a full-time job right now. I don't know what I'm doing. I quit my job in December. Like I've just been kind of figuring it out as I go. And so I think it gets really lonely.
Mhm.
I was going to ask you, I think all of those things that you just said are great. There was one question and one statement, but the statement being, you said something about like, at some point you kind of have to take a step, right, towards something. Because I think sometimes people get stuck and as they wait on what's next, they just don't do anything. And you do have to make effort. I think that is what you're saying. And I think sometimes in the Christian walk anyway,
Yeah.
like lots of people, we're listening for God's voice, but then we get stuck and we don't do anything. And I'm sure like as a young adult, it's really easy to get stuck in that waiting, stuck in the next thing and not to move. And so I'm curious for you as you are navigating some of that and even navigating some of the loneliness. Who did you have in your life that came alongside of you in that? Or how did you seek out, like I know you're living with your pastor now, and I know part of that story, but like when you felt like you were stuck and you're trying to figure it out and you feel lonely, who were the people that you had to like go to try to help you out with that?
Um, I think so. I kind of started feeling this way a lot back last August, actually. And that's when I started having this huge struggle of what's next for me. And I distinctly remember praying at teen camp. I was a teen camp counselor. And I remember praying with a co-counselor. And she was like, God, just let someone take care of Kimmy. Like, let it be her turn, kind of show her the way, like, show her what's next. And I was starting to kind of form a relationship with my pastor, Chelsea. And she was like, when are you moving to Syracuse? When are you moving to Syracuse? I was like, ha ha, I'm not moving. I have a job. And then I felt this call one day. I was driving through Syracuse and was like, hey, are you available? And we sat down and we talked and she just said something to me. I didn't tell her about this conversation with my co-counselor and friend. I didn't tell her about the prayer. And she was like, if you move here, like we want to take care of you. It wasn't I want to take care of you. It's not like it's like we. She had this community here that she's building. And I just was kind of sucked in and surrounded in such a good way. And so I think more so than back home, I have this faith community. It's not just people I talk to, it's people that care about me and pray for me and pray with me. And they check in on me and they know what's going on in my life.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And then it's friend lives here in Syracuse, and I was like, probably feels like I'm following you here, but it's not because you're here, but it's you being here is such a benefit because I can go over to her house 10 minutes away and I get to help her through, she's in recovery from a surgery right now, and I get to support her in that.
Yeah.
So it's not just I'm taking support from people, I also get to provide that. And I think that's what we miss when I think, Jerry, you said something about how we get in this mindset of I can do it all myself. My faith is my own, but it's not. Like it is, but it's also you need your community, and that's so important. And if I came here and I was like, okay, cool, I'm just living here and working here, I know that I wouldn't be thriving in this moment like I am. I've had struggles. It hasn't been this perfect walk, but I've been able to be honest with my best friend and my pastor and another member in our church plant. She checks in on me. She's like, "Hey, do you want to go to breakfast? Do you want to come do crafts with me? Like, how are you doing?" It's it's those connections that you make while you're doing these things, and they're not going to be there only when you're having a good time. They're going to help you when you're struggling too.
Yeah. So important. Something that you said that you're doing that I really wish more young adults would do is you were faced with the temptation to compare yourself, to compare your story with other people, like, oh, they have a full-time job or they're getting married or whatever. And I see so many young people just standing in stark comparison to like their peers, and they feel because they don't have all their questions answered, they feel like something's got to be wrong with me or something is broken in my life that I'm not married or I don't have, this upwardly mobile job or, whatever the case. So I really applaud you for making the decision to turn away from that and just owning your own story and what God is doing in the timing of your own life. Because I mean, that's across the board in our culture. We are a very comparative
Yeah.
and critical, type of people. I think we like things in order. We like to know where things stand. And so the stage of life of young adulthood is really more question marks than anything else. And that can really be unnerving to people. And the default setting, I think, for most people is just to kind of isolate and to kind of like shut down, which
Yeah.
erodes the community that is so very important to us, that you have, testified
Yeah.
to. So I really applaud you for facing that temptation and turning away from it and saying, no, I'm not gonna live enslaved to, the comparison I feel to other people. Because God's doing something in your life,
Yeah.
just like He's doing things in
Yeah.
other people's lives. So I think it's really, really good.
And I think
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing
And I
that,
think it's, oh,
sorry, no, go ahead.
no, you go.
I was just gonna say it's a beautiful thing that you like valued community.
Hmm.
You saw that enough to
Mhm.
literally uproot your life and go somewhere that probably scared you, of going somewhere
Yeah.
different. But I think I think people can chase a lot of things when it comes to jobs and money and like, all this stuff. And in the end, like if you have stuff and you have money and you have a great job, but you have no community, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
The community, we were built for
Yeah.
community. And so I just think that's such a beautiful thing too, that you went after community, trusted God had your back in that. And then you also, made that shift of like, yes, these people are going to pour into me, but I'm also going to look around me and I'm going to pour into others. Like, that's literally
Yeah.
like Jesus way. And that's where I mean, it doesn't mean our life is easy, but we find that like deep sense of fulfillment,
Right.
helps when we are feeling lonely.
Right.
So I just think that's so cool too.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say that in like just because I've made this decision to move here and I see that I need to stop comparing myself to other people, doesn't mean I never do it. I still scroll through social media and I'm like, "Oh, they look like they're having such a fun trip. I wish I had the money for that. If only I had stayed and I had this job and I had the money." And I had car issues last month and I was like, if I had stayed at home, maybe I would have had the money and I wouldn't have to worry about this. But then I was thinking and I was like, the first thing that anyone here did for me was like, let's pray about that. It's a car, and in the moment it felt so silly, but it's like, no, this is weighing on me. And the thought was, we're gonna pray about this. We're gonna pause. We're gonna think about something else. Like we're gonna think think our way through like what are the next steps. And there was a connection I made here where she was like, "Oh, I have a connection here, and he can connect you with his friend who can help you fix it for cheaper, probably." So it's like, I was thinking, and I was like, yeah, realistically, I probably would have had the money to pay for this upfront and not worry about it if I stayed back home. But also, I wouldn't have been able to grow in this because it's like I got to pray about it and I got to trust God and I got the opportunity to let my community support me in making these connections between their community outside of me. And it was just a beautiful growth moment for me. And it was so hard and it wasn't easy. And being here isn't always easy. But I think about, I put a lot of what ifs, like, what if I'd stayed home? What if I didn't come here? What if I didn't talk to this person? But like, God has me here for a reason. And it doesn't mean I'm never going to compare myself to others. And it doesn't mean I'm never going to maybe feel this twinge of regret. But I'm also, then I check myself and I'm like, no, you're here for a good thing and you want to be here and God wants you here and your people here want you here.
Mm-hmm.
So just trying to trust in that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good. So good. All right. Okay, Kimmy. The last question that I would love for you to share is what ways do you feel that the church views or handles young adults should change?
Yeah, I think a lot about, again, back to when I transitioned from teen to adult.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to remember that I saw this post somewhere that was like, you might be an adult now, like age wise, but you're technically like a little baby adult.
Mm-hmm.
You, like right now, I guess like 18 was my first year of adulthood, and now I'm not even 10 years old yet. So it's like, I'm a little baby adult.
Yeah.
And so
So
I
funny.
think not everyone recognizes that, and it's kind of hard to see that. Um, Something I wish and I think maybe could have helped me a little bit more through college was some check-ins. I think from like my church community, my whatever community back home. I think it could have been helpful maybe to feel that because it almost felt like I'm just like thrown into this huge deep end with all of these things I need to do or should know and with not a whole lot of guidance. And I think that's a struggle of trying to figure out how to support someone going from teen to young adulthood because it doesn't just go straight to adulthood. There is that middle ground of figuring out life. And that doesn't mean grown adults don't have their life completely figured out, but I think this is a stage where you're being bombarded with things you're supposed to do, like your taxes and paying for car insurance and going to college or getting a job. And I think just supporting that a little bit more. I think I'm starting to see more of a shift in that, and maybe that's because I live with my NYI president, and she's very passionate about young adult ministry, and but I think just that support in that transition could maybe be a little bit more, and I can see it happening more. Um, yeah, I don't know.
That's good. That's good. You just reminded me of a commercial that I saw that I think typifies exactly what you're talking about. I think it was an insurance company, and they're talking to like young drivers in like a classroom setting, and they're talking about saving on car insurance. And then somebody raised their hand. They're like, "What's insurance?" I think it's just
Yes, that's how
such
I
a
feel. I'm
great
like,
snapshot of like young adulthood. Yeah, I get it.
yes,
Well, and what a good
yes. I'm
reminder.
like, I
Oh, Kimmy, go.
I was just gonna say, I literally this past year, I'm like, I had to sign up for my own insurance. I don't know what that does. My parents always did that for me.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
Uh, I was going to say, what a great reminder, too, at the start of the school year for anybody that's listening. I think, we just a lot of us sent college kids, some for the first time, but also some that are getting, I think sometimes you think of the first year students and like they need that check-in, but it's also those students that are getting ready to graduate in a year and then are going to be in a totally different season of like now I really have to adult. So there's, I mean, for the church community, like you don't have to be doing stuff all the time, but you can send a text, you can send a care package, you can send a note in the mail to
Yes.
check in. So that's just a good reminder too, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, that's good. So good.
Yeah.
Kimmy, it has been sheer joy talking to you. You are a wonderful, phenomenal person. What a great, great story you have. And God is doing amazing things in your life. Please, please be encouraged. Hold on to Him. His timing is way better than our timing. And man, I know that this conversation is going to be a tremendous blessing to anybody who listens to it. So, thank you so very much for joining us on the Pivotal Podcast. You have been a huge inspiration and a huge blessing to me and to Andrea. And like I said, I know a lot more people too. Andrea, any closing thoughts?
No, I just you have so much wisdom, Kimmy.
Yeah.
And like I said at the beginning, like it's so fun to watch you grow. But I think you've grown because you've been super intentional. And you've been intentional to put yourself in the right community to go after the things that God's calling you to. So from your Spaghetti Wednesday parents, we say we are proud of you. We've come a long way from spilling the tea on the couch. And yeah, I'm excited to see, like, I'm jealous that you're in that community in upstate New York. But so thankful that, you know, you get to do life with your pastor. And it's going to be fun to see what God does in the next couple years. So I love you lots. I'm grateful for you being on this today and sharing your story.
Yeah, awesome. Kimmy, thank you so much again for being with us. And for anybody who is watching this video, if you have not yet subscribed to the Pivotal Podcast, what the heck are you waiting for? It doesn't cost anything.
Nothing.
Just do it. Yeah, like just yeah. Smash that subscribe button, you guys. Smash it. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh,
Thank
and
you guys for
also,
having me.
yeah, oh, of course, Kimmy. Like I said, it's been sheer joy talking with you. Yeah, I'm gonna walk away from this conversation. I think maybe a couple feet off the ground. It's gonna be great. Now, and also thank you. Now not only do I want a donut, but I want spaghetti too. So yeah, thanks for that. Awesome. Great. Thankfully, it's almost lunchtime. It's creeping up on
Yes.
lunchtime. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining in. And if this episode has helped you, then why not share it on your social media or Facebook or whatever? Yeah, we would love that. And feel free to leave a comment. And if you want to reach out, if you want to be a guest on a future episode, if you're a young adult, we would love to have you in that low box where Kimmy is now could be your face. So yeah, but good luck topping Kimmy. She was a great guest. All right. Thanks everybody. And we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining in the Pivotal Podcast, where we talk about young adults with young adults.